Welcome to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 142, otherwise known as Season 8, Episode 2. I'm your host, James J. Edwards, and with me, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davidson. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing good. Just hanging tight. It's another gloomy, rainy day, which is perfectly fitting for the Valentine's Day season.
You guys getting rain too? I'm getting a lot of rain down here.
Oh yeah, no, it's raining.
This is the most rain I can remember getting in a while. Also with us, as always, is your other host, John Correa. How you doing, Correa?
Doing great. It's, I like gloomy weather. It's an excuse to wear sweatpants and sweatshirts and ponchos all day. So I'm sitting pretty here.
You're not dressed as a skeleton.
Oh, that's for the special occasions,
That's for meeting Dan Stevens.
Well, the issue is I only have one skeleton suit. And so if I wear it at home all the time, it's bound to get chili stains on it. And, it's hard to get that out. So,
well, all right. What's been going on, you guys? I finally saw, and I feel like I'm totally behind the times, even though it just came out. I saw Companion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my God, you guys were 100% right. This is such an amazing movie. And here's the thing. I have seen reviews that are spoiling the best twist. So
even the marketing spoiled it, which I thought was insane.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I'm like, okay, just because I went into it completely blind on your guys's. I mean, I'd usually do that anyway, but you guys made it, very clear to go into this blind. And the twist that takes it from the first to the second act is the big one. That's the one that's being spoiled by all the market. It's like, oh God, you guys, no, I'm just so glad I got to experience it without that being spoiled because it's so much fun.
Which is really good because the writer director has even come out and said, I understand why they had to do that for marketing purposes and things of that nature to let people know, because that first teaser was just so what the fuck is this movie? Because after we saw it at the Beyond Fest screening, I rewatched that teaser, the one where it's just from the studio that brought you The Notebook. And I was like, wow, they really do show a shot from all the best parts of the movie, but without context, you have no idea what the fuck this movie is about. It's great. And we did go, Lindsay and I went and saw it at an AMC theater when it finally came out, just to, it's good to revisit, because I remember sitting there at the Beyond Fest screening, which the director shouted out. He's like, yeah, there's never going to be another screening of this film like that, because those people literally knew absolutely nothing and the room was electric. And Jacob and I can attest, it was one of the best audiences ever.
I had to beg for it. Wasn't activated by my PR agency, but it was on their schedule. So I went to the guy who handles Warner, and I said, hey, can you get me a contact to get a companion link? And he's like, they've been telling us to let them know if people ask. So yes, I have that contact for you. And they sent it to me. And so I watched it at home, and it still had that effect. I was so glad I didn't know anything, but the link I was given was good for 5 views, and I watched it twice.
Nice.
Right. Because when you go back, you pick up on the things.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how much of it was telegraphed, but I didn't know what I was looking for. Oh my God, it's so good.
And it's slightly spoilery, but the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, Jack Quaid's going for his mom's title of rom-com king or whatever. Second viewing, I was like, nope. I was completely wrong that first view for that first half of that first viewing, man. Boy, was it was there from the beginning. Oh my God. How did you not?
I remember you saying after you saw it, you're like, I'm just bummed that I'm not going to be able to see it again for 3 months. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not making that mistake. I'm watching it again.
No, it's so good. It's so funny. And, I truly think that Sophie Thatcher deserves awards for that performance.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to get overlooked, but because that's what happened. Although I don't, well, I mean, the Substance is doing a lot of heavy lifting for the future of horror nominations right now, but Sophie Thatcher is just a revelation in just what she does. And she talked about some of the things that people are applauding her for, and she's like, I didn't even realize I was doing that. There's little moments where she has little twitches and stuff, or does little mouth. It's so good. And then Lucas Gage was just phenomenal, and it's so funny. Yeah. Companion is such a fun movie,
and always cool to see Harvey Guillen in horror stuff. He was a good supporting cast for this.
Yeah, they were so cute together, him and Lucas Cage.
Oh yeah, the Halloween love memory.
It's so funny and bad. You're stepping on my tail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see Companion.
Yeah, absolutely. Go see Companion, and maybe we'll do a mini-sode where we can spoil stuff because, oh my God, don't let anything be spoiled.
And speaking of rom-com horror, you know what I'm going to talk about.
I know where you're going.
Oh, you know where I'm going, but it's Valentine's season, so it was the perfect time to release Josh Rubin's Hard Eyes, which is one of the best holiday slasher movies I've seen in some time, and it was just so much fun because it does that kind of horror genre mashup so perfectly, which, you know, of course, is Michael Kennedy and Christopher Landon writing it, and because they've got it down to a T, because it's a rom-com, but it's a slasher movie too. Like both work simultaneously. Like at the Beyond Fest screening I was at, Josh Rubin even said he pitched it literally as Sleepless in Seattle meets Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. And that's what it is.
And the thing that makes Hard Eyes work so well is Josh Rubin understands, and the movie as a whole understands exactly what it is about both rom-coms and slashers that make them so ridiculous. And it leans so heavily into it. So the movie itself is pretty ridiculous, but you are watching basically a Hallmark romance with a psycho killer. And it is so nuts. And I got to tell you, Mason Gooding, I kind of have a thing for Mason Gooding.
Oh, is he your Dan Stevens?
He might be the new Jake Gyllenhaal, or the new James McAvoy for me.
There you go.
Yeah, which I was going to say, Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt had such incredible chemistry as the romantic leads that's how they were able to really pull off the rom-com elements.
Yes.
But just having this mass killer trying to kill them. And I do love the design of the killer, too. Like the whole stitched up mask with the glow-in-the-dark night vision, literal heart eyes.
The killer's incredible, and the killer is ruthless. I mean, this is not just because it's part rom-com. This killer's brutal. It's not, he doesn't pull punches, and he has like a little crossbow, so there's a little bit of Cupid in there.
Yeah,
with
the Cupid thing, and he's got the spiked machete.
Hard Eyes does not reinvent the wheel. It knows exactly what it is about rom-coms and slashers that people want to see, but the mashup is just so it does what it sets out to do, which is it's just a completely fun combination of these two genres. And there's one scene that just had me dying because Olivia Holt's friend is like talking to her and she goes, "This is one of the 10 things I hate about you." It's like love. Actually, like she basically strings together probably a dozen romantic comedy titles in this one paragraph of dialogue that is totally in context, and it just makes you realize how ridiculously named some of these movies are.
Yeah, and also I'm already calling it that. I again, don't want to spoil, but there was one particular kill that is certainly going to be up for Fangoria Kill of the Year, and it was pretty impressive.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I don't. I need to see it.
You don't. You do need to see it. This is totally you'll love it. It's fun.
Also, always cool to see Devon Sawa pop up in horror comedy.
Devon Sawa was in it.
Yes.
Devon Sawa and Jordana Brewster. Talk about 90s, teen horror. You had Your Final Destination meets The Faculty. Yeah, it is.
I think you mean Idle Hands meets.
Yep, Idle Hands meets The Faculty. Okay,
that's where my brain goes. No, he was good at Final Destination as well, but Idle Hands, that's God tier. Speaking of romance comedies, we're getting romantic this episode.
Yeah, I got another one after this too. So yeah,
hell yeah. Did you guys see Your Monster?
No. I wanted to, though.
You're as in possessive, Y-O-U-R. It's a romance comedy with Melissa Barrero, who's from the recent Scream movies and Abigail. And it's about this theater girl who who she has cancer and her boyfriend breaks up with her while she's going through chemo and surgery and all that. So she's having a really rough breakup. And so she moves into her mom's house in New York during recovery, and she ends up befriending her childhood monster, like the monster that's in the closet or under the bed. And it's a real cute. It's definitely leans way more into romance comedy than it does horror, but it's adorable. It's a good modern kind of retelling of like Beauty and the Beast that's self-aware of it. And the Beast makeup is really good. But there's also these really funny bits because he's supposed to be the monster like in the closet or under the bed. So there's these great little moments like when they start like hanging out together and all this stuff. She's like talking about like the breakup and going through all this shit. And then she's laying on her bed like this, talking up to the ceiling. And then he's just under the bed, like half out, just like going, he sounds like a real limp dick. Fuck, and there's some like really funny bits with that. And yeah, it's, I mean, if you're looking for a real cute romance comedy that has, a bit of monstrous kills and stuff in it, Your Monster, it's, I think it's streaming on Max right now. But yeah, it was really good. And, it's a good roundup to last year's Monster Fucker trilogy with Lisa Frankenstein and Nosferatu,
Cool. Also, speaking of Valentine's Day, either of you guys see Love Hurts?
No.
No.
It's not really Valentine's, but they're billing it as Valentine's. And it's not really horror. It's like an action comedy, but it has Ke Huy Quan from Everywhere, Everywhere, All at Once and the Indiana Jones movies. And also Ariana DeBose is in it. And the commercials are hilarious because it's all Oscar winner, Ke Huy Quan, Oscar winner, Ariana DeBose, Super Bowl champion, Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch, he plays one of the whole thing is like Ke Huy Quan is he's a realtor who is trying to leave his professional assassin life behind. And but it's catching up to him again. And Marshawn Lynch plays one of the hitmen that are kind of after him, I guess. My issue, it's only 83 minutes long, and you'll never hear me say this, but I think it needs to be longer because the setup is all done through, it kind of drops you right into the action. And the setup is kind of done through exposition and flashbacks. And I think that they could have given a little more of that. Plus, there are so many colorful characters. Like Marshawn Lynch's character is one of them, but there's also another who's this hitman who's also like a poet. There are just so many colorful characters that I think they could do more with, and they don't. But as far as an action movie, it's some of the best fight choreography I've seen in a very long time. Long time. Like it is. It's sort of kung fu movie, but it's a lot of the director is Jonathan Eusebio, and they've done stunts for stunts for the Fall Guy, stunts for John Wick. I mean, it's Violent Night, Birds of Prey. I mean, it stunts for like Marvel movies, Black Panther, Deadpool 2. So it looks like they're from the same school as like the Bullet Train type of a thing.
And Key also was a stunt coordinator and stuntman for years. He famously was the coordinator on the original X-Men movie.
Yeah, you can tell that he's got some martial arts training and some stunt work too, because even in Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's hard to say. Even in that, he got to flex his muscles a little.
Oh yeah, no, he got some good fights in there.
Yeah, it is. As an action movie, it's awesome. As a story, I kind of wanted a little more. But Love Hurts is. I mean, there's always enough time for Love Hurts because it is. It's 83 minutes.
Oh wow, that's pretty lean.
And like I said, you'll never hear me say that, but I wanted a little more of it. I wanted about 20 more minutes of exposition and fleshing out some of the fun characters.
Another recent film that came out. I don't know. Did you guys see Steven Soderbergh's Presence?
No,
yes, I wish. I just saw it yesterday.
Ooh, so no spoiling for Jay.
Yeah, they didn't screen it for us, which is weird because Neon is kind of weird about that. But yeah, we didn't get a screening, and I just haven't had a chance. You may have noticed that we skipped an episode. I haven't had a chance to go to a theater because I've been doing 15 hours a day of curling. So yeah, talk to me about curling, Korea.
After we're done recording, happy to fucking love curling.
We should write a horror movie about curling.
I'm
like
down.
Hard Eyes, but curling.
Hey, yeah, Hardy, you stab with a broom and throw a stone. Yeah, do it.
Well,
I'm in.
There was that hockey scene in Running Scared where fuck, the accent came out hard with that. I'll have to add that to the list.
Also, that scene in Satan Slay where Goldberg as the satanic Santa does hell curling.
That's right. Yeah. Oh man, Santa Slay has one of the greatest openings ever, where it's just it's just Santa Claus crashing a dinner that has what is it, Fran Drescher, James Caan,
Chris Kattan,
Fran Drescher, and just like slaughters everybody. Just like comes through. He lights Fran Drescher's hair on fire, which is sacrilegious in my eyes. But anyways, presents.
Yes,
we ADHD'd hard there. Steven Soderbergh's haunted ghost house story, and I loved it. The whole movie is from the perspective of the presence, and you get to see this family that's like any good ghost or haunted house story. The main story is a broken family or a broken individual, and this family's pretty fucking broken. There's some really interesting, cool things. The camera work in it is obviously Soderbergh just going fucking nuts and just being like, I'm this presence, and now you are seeing it from my perspective. So there's a lot of really cool bits where like people are just out, like they're sitting on the porch, but the presence can't go outside, so it's watching through the windows. It's very voyeuristic, and great performances. Like Lucy Liu is just, you never know what's going on with her. It's great.
Yeah, and I do love the effects with because the ghost sometimes telekinetically lifts objects or throws stuff around, and it looks very seamless. Like I can't really tell the effects in it.
Yeah, it's really well done. If you're looking for like jump scares or like that type of spooky, you're gonna be disappointed because it's not that type of movie. It is at its core a family drama that just happens to involve this ghost, and the camera work, if anything, is like the creepiest part of it, because you're definitely by a certain point going, what is their intentions? Does it know what its intentions is? It's really interesting. Highly recommend.
Yeah, although I do still qualify it as a horror movie because there's a lot more to the plot, and as things unfold, it does get pretty disturbing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm trying to not spoil anything. I will say though, as a millennial watching it, seeing a youngish family move into like an older house where there's like a lot of exposed brick and wood and stuff, I'm like, I swear to God, if you paint over that fucking fireplace. So, and that's another thing for the millennials out there. There's so many great like moving from room to room shots of this beautiful old house. So you get to have that house porn that you watch at 3 a.m. touring Zillow, because you will never be able to afford a house. Trust me, I'm right there with you, bud. But yeah, Presence, absolutely phenomenal. Go check it out in theaters, please. We need more spooky houses.
Oh, yes. On the repertory side of things, last night I went to a 35 millimeter screening of Peter Madak's Species 2.
Oh,
you guys seen that?
Not the second one, no, because that Blu-ray for Scream Factory was out of print for the longest fucking time.
Yeah, no, it was part of one of those weird Wednesday screenings at Alamo where, they go for obscurity. And this is one of those movies that I caught a lot on the Sci-Fi Channel. So I thought it'd be fun to revisit. And it is also kind of their anti-Valentine's movie. But also I'm a big fan of the original Species as well. So yeah, it was a fun time. And yeah, they played an original 35 millimeter print. And yeah, this movie is camp and goopy and wacky as hell because, yeah, they cloned the original alien Syl Natasha Henstridge from the original movie, and now there's a guy, like this astronaut who went to Mars who got infected with alien DNA. So now there's basically a male version of the alien from Species, and they bring back Michael Madsen, and there's some really crazy scenes and like a lot of psychic stuff between Natasha Henstridge and the alien astronaut guy, and lots of gore, and also the Alien, whenever he impregnates someone, they immediately become pregnant and basically chest burst alien babies. So they're just really going for it. But yeah, no, rewatching it now, they definitely knew Peter Madak definitely knew what kind of movie he was making, and they play for it for ridiculous. Like there's a scene where Michael Madsen chases the alien through a grocery store, and since he's an astronaut, he has his own cereal box. It's pretty wacky.
But is it as horny as the original? That's
oh no, no, it's horny as hell.
Okay.
Like Natasha Henstridge and George Junja, I think, basically the male alien and the female alien are psychically connected. So like Natasha Henstridge literally goes into heat and is so horny she can rip a steel door off so that she can try to get to her mate.
So on a scale of from baby girl to Love Lies Bleeding, how horny is it?
I'd say it's pretty close to Love Lies Bleeding. It's pretty horny.
Those are both very horny movies.
I was gonna say, what's that? That scale is from like 9.5 to 9.7.
Listen.
It's the same general area.
If it's not somewhere between those two movies, I don't consider it horny. Like that's not horny enough. Like you might
scale.
That's my scale. Unless there's a monster fucking scene in it, then it's not that horny.
Oh, there's lots of monster fucking.
Ah, okay. We're getting romantic with the monster fucking this episode. Love it.
Another thing that I saw, which is actually a huge thing coming out this week, I saw Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh, how was that?
And this is the first movie since probably Endgame that actually feels like a Marvel movie. You know, because they've been doing like Shang-Chi and Black Widow and the Eternals, and these movies I didn't mind them. I mean, the Marvels I actually liked in like a crazy B movie kind of a way, but they didn't feel like Marvel movies to me. You know, they didn't feel like they had the same universe. But this one does, and it is it's Falcon is now Captain America, and there's a new Falcon, and there's a new Black Widow, and there's a new Hulk, which is Red Hulk.
Yeah,
it carries on the tradition. It's got all of the fights and it's got all of the stuff that you expect from a Marvel movie. I mean, it's not as good as any of the pre-Endgame ones, but it's the best one since then. Take that for what it's worth.
How's do they give a lot of screen time to Tim Blake Nelson? Because that's been I'm a huge defender of the Incredible Hulk movie. That was one of my favorite of the Phase 1 movies, but mainly because I'm a huge fan of the TV show. And there was a lot of homages and like stuff done with that, the Edward Norton one. But it ends with the tease of Tim Blake Nelson becoming the leader. And so we know he's in this one. So
he's the primary villain. Put it that way.
Thank you. That's all I needed. All I needed.
It's not Red Hulk. Red Hulk is not the primary villain. He's a pawn.
Yeah.
Right. So it is, but he's in it quite a bit. You won't be disappointed. It's kind of a surprise because it's almost more of a sequel to that Edward Norton Hulk movie than it is to
Captain America.
Yeah, that to Civil War or any of the the Avengers movies. But like Harrison Ford he's now the president, and the very beginning of the movie is him accepting, taking office or winning the election. So it's not really a spoiler, but it's kind of prescient there's a lot of tension between the United States and allies like Japan and France that you're like, is this where we're going? It's almost like they're kind of trying to be subtle about a few things that are happening today. It's not woke Captain America though.
Oh, people are going to claim it is. They're going to be like, oh, that Red Hulk might as well be orange. It's just like, guys, it's a popcorn movie. Will. It's not going to be that deep.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun. I mean, come on. It's a Marvel movie. I'm just excited. Again, we're getting an Incredible Hulk sequel, even if it is in the Mask of a Captain America sequel. So I'm happy.
There's more to it than just Tim Blake Nelson being in it. It's a Hulk movie.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I'm stoked. I mean, again, you had me at leader. You had me at Red Hulk. I loved that run of Red Hulk after the Hulk supposedly died. As they do in the comics all the time. Like, Hulk's gone. Oh wait, now there's a red one. I thought that was great. And the second they introduced General Ross in the Incredible Hulk, I was like, oh, we better get Red Hulk at some point. And that day has finally come. Another recent film that I saw. Did you guys see Getaway yet?
No. I want to because I love Nick Frost.
Yeah, it just hit Shudder not too long ago. I think it's one of the 3 horror projects Nick Frost did last year.
Yeah, because was it The Crazy Family and
Crazy House?
Crazy House, yeah, and there was one other one.
The Black Cab, I think it is.
Yeah,
Black
that's
Cab.
the one.
Yeah, so this one, it's the same director as Crazy House. So they did 2 movies together that came out last year, but Nick Frost wrote this one. And Getaway is about this British family that goes to Sweden, to this small island that has this day of remembrance thing, kind of remembering this event that happened 200 years ago, where the island was quarantined for because of disease, and stayed that way for so long that people ended up eating each other, and so they call it Karatan, like quarantine but Swedish. And I know it's Karatan because they say Karatan so fucking much in the movie. I want to avoid spoilers with it, but Getaway is a weird fucking movie. I had so much fun with it. As a fan of like Danish, Swedish comedies from that region and how weird they are, like I was sitting there the whole time going, "Damn, I need to watch Men and Chicken again after this." But it's a lot of fun. It's extremely weird. There's a lot of little weird things with the dialogue, like Nick Frost and his wife, who's played by Ainsley B, who's the Irish comedian. They weirdly just like keep going, "Okay, daddy, okay, mommy," and it's just like, why are you saying it like that? There's so many bits where you're just like, why are you saying it like that? And as it goes on, it gets into like some very, like right off the bat, like folk horror-y territory. And there's like 8 harbingers in the beginning of the movie. Like that's the kind of comedy it is, where it's like, oh yeah, here's the guy who's going to tell you not to go to the island. Now here's 5 more. And it just like, it's a lot of fun. It's an easy watch. But yeah, I recommend it. And I still need to, I don't know when they're going to release Crazy House over here, because I can't find it anywhere, but I want to see their other project together, because I had a lot of fun with Getaway. Now on Shudder.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for the Crazy House. Also, speaking of Shudder, I actually went to a pre-screening of a new release that's coming out this week, The Dead Thing, the feature debut from Elric Kane, and it was very interesting. It's very much kind of a dread horror, just very muted, but I mean that in a good way. It's basically about this woman who lives in LA, and she's just kind of going from hookup to hookup through these dating apps, and she finally meets a guy that she actually loves. But as with usual with these types of horror romances, there's a lot more to it than that, and things do not go well. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of more low budget horror, but they really worked with the kind of resources they had. And it was shot in LA, which I feel is very rare these days, especially for more low budget horror. I was lucky enough to see it at the New Beverly last week on a 35 millimeter print, which I think really added to it. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where I can't talk about it too much without spoiling, except it is one of the feel bad romance horrors of the season, so I would highly recommend it.
Another new release that came out, and I feel like this is like the only time it's appropriate for me to talk about Star Trek, so I'm going to take it. The Michelle Yeoh centered film Star Trek Section 31 came out on Paramount Plus, and when I tell you it was the hardest thing for me to not watch it at midnight when it came out, because I had work the next day and also wanted to watch it with Lindsay, I had to wait till the next evening. It was a really hard fight, and let me tell you, you guys know me, I don't like saying bad things about things, because everyone works so hard on films, but Section 31 just really felt like a misfire. It's if you don't know Star Trek lore, Section 31, which came out of Deep Space Nine, is the CIA of Starfleet, but they're super unknown. They're the ones that get their hands dirty so that Starfleet can be the shining example of post-scarcity society. And in Deep Space Nine, they're terrifying, because it's like first and foremost, admirals don't know about this thing. They have like there's no oversight. So like they torture, they kidnap, they do things, and it's like, holy shit, this is supposed to be it further expands upon themes that were in Next Gen, and they continue it in Enterprise, really. And then of course they make lots of jokes of it in Lower Decks, but they take this terrifying thing and they make a Suicide Squad movie out of it. And I don't mean the James Gunn Suicide Squad. I'm talking David Ayer, where like the comedy is just kind of like not really fitting. It's band together. I thought at the very least that they would be able to give Michelle Yeoh, because her character Jojo is like the best thing to come out of Discovery, and she gives cunt constantly in that show, and I love it. And they don't really give her that opportunity too much in this movie. I thought there would at least be that one redeeming thing. She kind of had a bigger moment in Wicked than she does in Section 31. But at the end of the day, like there's just like a lot of things with it where it's just like, I don't know, like at the very end of the movie, they make reference to a very specific episode of Next Generation where they go, oh, our next mission's on this planet. And if you're a Next Gen fan, you know, that's a planet that's known as like a rape world, where like they have gangs of like people marauding across the land. And like, that was a very dark storyline. And the movie ends with a joke about it. Like they made a Yo Mama joke about it. Like, and that's where I'm kind of like, I understand what they were trying to do something that's like not super Star Trek-y to kind of appeal to others, but then like the lore they're using to do it, it just wasn't really fitting. And like altogether, it even sets it up like a TV pilot movie. And yeah, I was very disappointed. So
it's like at the end of, was it at the end of The Conjuring when they're all, well, we have this new case we're going. It's in Amityville. Dun, dun, dun. You know?
Yeah, but with a rape planet.
Yeah, well,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
No, and not even that. It's like the name of the planet is Turkana 4. They go, oh yeah, and our next mission is on Turkana 4. It's like, oh, more like Your Mama 4. And I'm like, you did not just make a Yo Mama joke out of Turkana 4, dude.
Okay.
That's a very dark episode. Like,
so that's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I mean, honestly, I hadn't watched it because I had heard so much negative response to it. Like, I'm in some, just some meme groups on Facebook. Like, my favorite is Treksons, which is like they mash up Simpsons and Star Trek jokes. There have been so many jokes about how bad Section 31 was, and just how it really apparently missed the mark. And like there were a lot of Poochie jokes compared to it, to kind of put in that perspective. Well, also the big problem was that apparently it was originally supposed to be a series, but then Michelle Yeoh's career really got boosted, so they took the footage and tried to make it into a movie, and it sounds like it just did not mesh.
Yeah, and I'm the biggest defender of when it comes to like Trek, especially the movies. Like I even in recently watching 5, I'm like, 5's actually a good movie. I'm gonna say it. I didn't think Shatner did a bad job with Star Trek 5. Into Darkness, I don't defend that much because another time it seems like after Deep Space Nine, no one knows what the fuck to do with Section 31. So it's like, just leave it alone. But it's not only just like not handling that right, but the editing. It is really weird and chaotic. It doesn't sit at all. If you really thought that like the Abrams Trek movies didn't have enough lens flare, well, then Section 31's for you. They got fucking lens flares up the wazoo. It's just weird. Like it's one of those things where it's like it's trying to have high fun energy and it's just not landing. And like, again, I was one of those people for the last year was going like, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to at least be fun, guys. It's going to be very different, but it's going to be fun. And I'm sitting there being like, I don't have much to defend it. I'm sorry, but I'm still going to get the Blu-ray because, got to complete the collection.
You're a completist.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this other thing I saw? And it's not good, but there's something I want to talk about it. This movie called Strictly Confidential that came out last year.
Don't know that one.
Okay. This is it's more like a kind of a murder mystery kind of a thing, without the murder though, but that's a little bit of a spoiler. But it is basically this girl dies and all of her friends come back to, on the anniversary of her death, come back to like hang out at her house because she was real close with they were all real close with her mom and all this other stuff. And it's not good. It's a pretty weak mystery, and it feels like a Lifetime movie. But Elizabeth Hurley is in it. She plays the mom.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, okay. Hold that thought. I do too. I do too.
Great.
Don't get me wrong.
She was a great devil in Bedazzled.
No, hold that thought though.
True.
It is directed by her son, Damien Hurley. And here is the thing. This has the most sexualized gaze on Elizabeth Hurley. And when you think that it's her son giving this gaze, it just makes you feel dirty. And the thing is, it's not just like how she's dressed or anything. There are like lesbian love scenes with Elizabeth Hurley that her son is having to direct her in. And I'm like, it's really creepy when you think that her son is, okay, now do this. Like, oh.
I'm still reeling from the fact that her son's name is Damien.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
My ADHD.
She played the devil, and now she's got a son named Damien. Okay.
No, she leaned into that hard. I mean, I love the Bedazzled movies so much. That's weird, though. I'm processing what you just said, and I mean, he wasn't the camera operator, right?
No, but yeah. I mean, it's really weird. Yeah, I don't know. But it's just weird because the whole gaze. I mean, if you see it, you'll know. And the reason I watched it, it was one of those like $3.99 FanFlix deals where I was like, I need something else here. I love Elizabeth Hurley. Let's go for this. And it was only when I noticed I'm all Damien Hurley. I wonder, and I saw, but yeah. She's really sexualized in it. And don't get me wrong, this is Elizabeth Hurley. So how are you going to put her in a movie and not sexualize her? I mean, she's hot, but this is her son. It's really, really kind of, I don't know. I needed a shower.
Yeah, that does sound kind of weird. Well, on my end, I in terms of the repertory screenings, I've been seeing a lot of David Lynch movies in tribute to his passing. The American Cinematheque in particular has done a lot of them. I saw Eraserhead, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, Fire Walk with Me, and particularly of interest to me was I attended a shorts block which included several of his earlier short films, and one that really struck me was this short he did for the Lumiere anniversary back in '95, where he actually shot with an original Lumiere camera, and it was called Premonition: Following an Evil Deed. It's only 1 minute long. It's on YouTube, and it's one of the most nightmarish things I have ever seen. It was brilliant. I also saw Blue Velvet, but yeah, no, I do feel watching all his movies back to back to back like this, and in this way, has had an effect on me. And also just kind of seeing a lot of the recurring themes and styles that he has throughout, from his earliest films to his latest. And as always, they played great with a crowd. Oh, and also I saw Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar theatrically. That movie rules.
I was planning on going to that screening, and then I ended up having to do a dinner meeting. And Jacob texts me. He's like, I'm in the theater. Where are you? We didn't even discuss going to see that together. He just knew, like, if there was a screening of Barb and Star, that I should be at it. And
I sensed your presence.
It was worth missing it. I can tell you it was a really good dinner meeting, but boy, I think I did in the middle of it just astro project myself into the Egyptian and just kind of like floated above everyone, just for like at least a few of those musical numbers. I was there for the Seagull song, at least.
You were there in your spiritual culottes.
Yeah. This happened in reverse when I felt a strong need to watch The Guyver one day, and it very much so was Jacob Nosferatuing me, just beckoning, watch The Guyver, watch The Graver today.
Speaking of that, I actually had a moment like that too, with Jacob beckoning me, but it was when Frankie Freako.
Oh yeah,
it was on sale on Vudu, and I'm like, oh, you know what? If I don't buy this, if I don't buy this and watch it,
Freako.
So yeah, I got to watch, and that was pretty much what I expected. Just like mad, those little puppets. Are,
Yes.
and the thing is, we're talking about feeling bad for like Rocket Raccoon or feeling sad about the headless corpse in Street Trash. There's a moment in Frankie Freako where I'm like, no, yeah, this guy can't die. Ugh.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I actually had some friends over and we did a double feature of Hundreds of Beavers and Frankie Freako, my two favorite comedies of last year.
Such a Jacob double feature.
It's me. It's purely me.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, also the theme being that they're both basically live action cartoons, but yeah, no, I still love Frankie Freako, and and rewatching it, I do really love Connor Sweeney's performance being this just the ultimate milquetoast guy, and also Adam Brooks just being his like really sleazy boss, Mr. Beekler, after John Carl Beekler from the original Ghoulies, who just keeps telling me, "Hey, why aren't you at the office shredding those documents?" And then he gets covered in glue and he's just in glue for the rest of the movie, but he says he's okay even while the other freakos are just running around him.
I just love how we just universally agreed that Jacob does Nosferatu beckoning, but it's not sexual at all. It's just him getting us to watch movies.
Yeah, that's my power. I spiritually force people to watch the crazy ass movies that I love.
You need to watch the Mandy's. Frankie Freako.
Hundreds of beavers. Hundreds of beavers.
You gotta roll the R's. Beavers.
I have trouble rolling my R's. Hundreds of beaver. Damn it.
We'll work on it.
I'll never be a Nosferatu.
Oh, you sound so sad. I'll never be a Nosferatu.
I can't roll my R's. I can't be a vampire.
Well, that's why you got to be a Voldemort. Which...
Oh, yeah, I got to watch that one.
Yeah, so good. I actually did. That was a Korea beckoning me.
Yeah.
I did see Warlock, and you were right. That it's like, is it actually a marionette? It is. So it is so uncanny. Yeah, you have to see the Warlock, Jacob. It is. Oh my god! It is like, it's weird. It's just so uncanny. Like the villain is literally a puppet.
But it's okay. But you believe it. Like it's not. You're not sitting there going, it's a puppet. You're sitting there going, no. This is an uncanny. This is an unnatural being. This should not exist in nature. This thing.
Yep.
And here it is talking at me, and I don't like it. But it's also so fun. It's such a cut. Yeah, I love how Jacob's beckoning is like Frankie Freako, Guyver, and me. I'm going Voldemort. It's so cunty. You can watch the cunty movie, guys. Like that's my beckoning.
And mine is like Gawk Elizabeth Hurley. Gawk Elizabeth Hurley.
Don't think about the son directing her in that lesbian scene.
It's not creepy if it's not her son.
Look, we all have our different powers.
But seriously, Voldemort. It's on Shudder.
I know. I will watch it.
There was this kind of weird sale on Vudu like a month ago where they were selling like all these really bad movies for cheap. So one of them was you got both Coffin movies for like $5. Have you guys seen these?
Coffin?
I've seen them in the
Coffin
sale.
2. Yeah.
I've seen them in the sales, but I'm like,
Well, yeah, the big turnoff is the first one has Kevin Sorbo in it. So, but don't hold that against it. These movies, they're not good. But they're kind of like the Saw movies where like it's like someone's in this trap and it's sort of like a cross between Buried and Saw. And they're nice and short, so that's it's a merciful thing because they're not good, but they're interesting enough, I guess. But another one that I got on one of these like cheap sales. Have you guys seen that movie Karen from a few years ago?
No, but I heard about it.
I heard about it.
I think it's Taryn Manning from Orange is the New Black. Yeah. This movie is so on the nose about what it is. Cause it's like this, it's what you would think it is. There's a black family that moves into this affluent suburb and their neighbor is Karen. And she makes their life miserable by being a Karen. It's exactly what you think it is. She'll like make fake police calls on them and it's It was another one. It was like $3, or it was like 3 movies for like $8. I'm like, that's about right. It's about worth the two something I paid.
Yeah, it was a BET original movie. I was like, wasn't it a made for TV movie?
Was it really BET?
Yeah, I was thinking it was either Lifetime or BET, and that's why I wanted to see it, because sometimes those movies are unhinged.
This is unhinged, and the thing is, it's like you can. I mean, it actually does make sense because all of the black characters are the ones that are like the voice of reason, and like they'll call her out on her shit, and then she just goes even more and more crazy. Man, this is like, I mean, it really doesn't make Karens look good. Which, I mean, there's not really a way that you can make Karens look good, but this one is. It's pretty on the nose though about what it's trying to do.
On a scale of what happened to Baby Jane and
the front room.
In the front room, yeah, there we go. On a scale of what happened to Baby Jane in the front room, like how much into hagsploitation is Taylor Manning's character?
It's closer to the front room, but she's not really so haggy as she is just, you just want to slap her,
Okay.
But but it's closer to the front room because the racial thing is there,
But she doesn't shit herself.
No.
None
of that.
See the front room. It's on Max. It's so good.
The front room is.
I'll get around to it.
You haven't seen that? Oh,
pay special attention to the score. The score from the front room. I'm waiting for A24 to have that record.
Jacob, watch the front room. Catherine Hunter's is Conti.
Okay.
I think all the other really bad movies that I saw aren't worth mentioning. Movies like with names like Screwdriver and The Retreat, and it's like, do I even remember what these are about? If they,
No. I will say it's not horror; it's straight up comedy. But it needs to be shouted from the rooftops. One of those days.
Yes. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
One of them days.
One of them days.
One of them days.
Produced by Issa Lopez with Kiki Palmer and SZA.
SZA.
It's so good. I mean, growing up, the Friday movies, barbershop movies, these slice of life films that take place in the city were some of my favorites. I revisited the barbershop movies recently. Beauty Shop is so good. Whoever trash talks Beauty Shop, I will meet you out back. Yeah, it's one of them days. It's just so funny. Kiki Palmer is always amazing, but SZA steals that fucking movie. She is so funny in it, and
yeah, she is very chaotic, and it's fun.
Man, yeah, it was just so refreshing just having a slice of life comedy again, and it's really sad that we don't get more of those, where it's just two characters on like a crazy everyday adventure.
And it's and it is literally a day. It just takes place over the course of the day. And I love that there's a timer. It's like time until rent's due.
Yeah.
And they just going from one misadventure to another, desperately trying to get the money.
Yeah, because it's two friends trying to get money to pay rent after one of their boyfriends stole all their money. And there's a really great part where they go to a payday loan place, and Cat Williams plays a homeless man outside, and before they even
his name is Lucky.
Yeah, his name is Lucky, and he's like, don't do it, and like, as someone who used to work in debt relief, yeah, and as like someone who used to work in debt relief, like that's all I shout when I see people going into payday loans. It's like, no, don't do it. And he says exactly what I would say: if you don't have the money this week, you're not going to have it next week. That's how they get you. And they're like, why do you know this? He's like, I got 8 loans through them, but I gave up everything and I'm free now. I'm freer than you. It's really funny.
And it is one of those things where it's almost like After Hours, where you just it's just one situation after another, and it gets more and more ridiculous, but it's just so funny. And the cast works so well off each other. And I mean, it's kind of a horror movie because we're all, just if you have to pay rent, that's scary.
Yeah, the real villains are the landlords.
Yes, actually, that's a part of the movie.
But Dead Kennedys gave us a solution to that. So, After Hours or Into the Night. I just watched Into the Night for the first time recently because, it had a little bit of a stance on why I wouldn't watch that movie. But I watched it and I was surprised on how much I liked it because I really wanted to hate that movie, it being the post-Twilight Zone John Landis movie. But But hey, man, you have you throw in a Jim Henson cameo and you got me. But also the music, the score was done with BB King. He not only did the theme songs, but like they would score the movie, and then BB would do guitar over it, and the score is amazing. And this is the main reason why I wanted to watch it. And the music video for it has Michelle Pfeiffer in like a blue glammed up blazer playing saxophone, which I was like, what? I didn't think Michelle Pfeiffer could serve more cunt than she did in Batman Returns, but her in a blue blazer playing saxophone, yeah, that she did it.
Damn,
I know. With BB King, come on.
Nice. All right. Well, believe it or not, we did have a topic plan for this week, but we called Omaha in the middle, and we just decided to give you guys a catch-up episode. So hope
fun.
you liked that. One more thing to talk about before we split, though.
Yes.
I did watch, on Korea's recommendation, Pistol. That's Sex Pistols miniseries.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
That ruled.
That was good, right?
That was awesome. And the thing is, what it made me kind of feel bad for Chrissy Hind, because she was around. I knew that she was around in the Pistols and the Clash, but she just kept getting dissed by them. And and eventually she outlasted them. She's, got her own thing. But the girl who plays Chrissy Hind, Sydney Chandler, who is Kyle Chandler's daughter from Friday Night Lights and one of the Godzilla movies. So kind of a Nepo baby, but she was awesome. She was an awesome Chrissy Hind. But the guy that they got to play Johnny Rotten is perfect.
Oh,
perfect.
That introduction, did I not tell you that was like the perfect introduction for Johnny Rotten? Like he's a horror villain.
Yeah, but the thing is, his name's Anson Boone, the actor, and he is the perfect Johnny Rotten. And the funny thing is, he becomes the voice of reason by the end. And you're like, wait a minute, this dude who they call him Rotten because of his breath in his teeth. And he's the guy who's sitting there, telling them, he's telling Steve Jones what's what. And I always thought Steve Jones was the most sensible guy in the Pistols, but this kind of changed my mind.
Well, it's different times, different, things going on. And like, I think I haven't read Steve Jones's book since high school, so I can't really attest to how accurate it is historically. But I do think they do a good job of kind of like giving everyone that opportunity to be voice of reason, but also like showcase like no one's really the villain, just like everyone kind of has a moment, and it all accumulates. And I am really glad that they do go into like the American tour and like the Sid Vicious being brought up and all that stuff. And
the American tour, that's where they broke up. I mean, the timeline is pretty solid. It goes from the formation of the band to the breakup, which was only like 2 years. I mean, the Sex Pistols they made one record, and it's probably arguably the most influential punk rock record. You could say the first Ramones or the first Clash, but Nevermind the Bollocks is arguably, for a band that only did that record.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. There are other Sex Pistols records out there, but they're compilate. They just keep changing the order of the songs. And,
it's like one could argue the soundtrack to the Great Rock and Roll Swindle.
Well, yeah, it's exactly that. It's the Rock and Roll Swindle. And also there's a couple of live records, but there's one Pistols record.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. The music for this is incredible. And it's funny because there's one scene where they're showing Steve Jones and Glenn Matlock working out. I think it's Anarchy in the UK. And he's showing him the chords, and Matlock, who's a musician, he's like, oh, and then the diminished fifth, and then you've got the minor. And then Steve Jones is like, no, C. Bow, F, bow, play it like a Sex Pistol. That was like the best line. Play it like a Sex Pistol.
So good. But also the Bodies episode. That was when they actually, because that supposedly happened, is that they actually did meet a girl who was walking around
Pauline,
with something in her purse, and it was like once they reveal what's in the purse, it's like, oh fuck, and like
So anyway. Pistol, I got it. They pulled it from Hulu, but I got it. It was on one of those FanFlix deals where you get the whole miniseries, and it was like $4.99. And I'm like, okay, I'm in for this, because on your recommendation, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
But anyway, Pistol.
Very Danny Boyle project too.
Like it's funny because you said it was a very Danny Boyle project. I didn't realize it was actually a Danny Boyle project. At the end of the first episode, it's all directed by Danny Boyle. I'm like, oh, it wasn't just a clever analogy. This is actually a Danny Boyle project.
No, I think he directed the whole thing. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he created the series, but yeah, it was funny.
But like his visual style and marks are just like all over that series. And Maisie, what's her name from Game of Thrones? Maisie Williams also was phenomenal as one of the models that worked at the sex shop for Vivienne Westwood. Which I liked how that show showed how much like Vivienne Westwood was like pretty fucked over because she created the whole style that was UK punk. You know,
she also kind of became the voice of reason too in Malcolm's ear.
Yeah.
It's like Steve Jones had Johnny Rotten as his voice of reason and Malcolm had Vivian as her. Yeah. So it's cool. If you ever wondered what went on behind the scenes, I think it's pretty, I mean, I know the timeline is correct. They may have exaggerated some stuff, but yeah, it just made me feel bad for Chrissie Hynde.
Yeah.
But, hey, things worked out well for her in the end.
And it's also one of the few Sex Pistol projects that does not portray Nancy Spurgeon as just like the Antichrist.
It's weird because it makes Sid look like the bad guy in that because like they were totally codependent. Mm-hmm. And like the part where they're playing on the boat and he sees her on the shore, he's all, Nancy, it's like, is he going to swim across the channel there? Wait, I don't know. All right. Well, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
We'll have a topic for you or maybe an interview. I don't know what's coming up next with us.
We're cooking up something.
We have interviews in the queue, but we also have a topic online for you. So yeah. We'll see. But for this time, hope you enjoyed our little catch up. And this is the real season 2 premiere because we had the interview that we couldn't pass up. Mary Beth was awesome. That was an awesome interview.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a weird season premiere. But we'll catch you guys in a couple weeks. Our theme song is by Restless Spirit, so go give them a listen. And our artwork is by Chris Fisher, so go give him a like. And check us out on all the socials except one as Ion Horror and at iHorror.com, which is the site we all call home. And we'll be back in a couple weeks. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Correa.
Keep your eye on horror.